Steve, so you've been doing this for a number of years.
Yeah.
Dare I ask how many?
Yeah, well, so we're around about 25 years now, I think. That's with Bespoke, since we formed the business.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I did I had some other things before. I had some businesses as a teenager at home actually, and then worked in design as well. Just for I think that was only 3 years before we founded Bespoke, and then obviously it's the journey.
All right. So there was a little story before Bespoke then, as well as education. So you did a few little businesses, little
I did.
ventures.
What did I do now in teenage year? Yeah, I did when I was I think 14. I did. Me and just a mate from our estate, we did a business selling football programs because we're mad about football. So we put an advert in the magazine and we bagged up these. We went to buy things from the market and bag them up at a different packages at a different rate and post them out to people around the country and tap to a catalogue and things. But it's only a bit of fun, something we're into. And then I made a magazine that we sold at football. We did that for about 8 years as well. That was quite a big thing in the end. I did like national profile by the time we finished.
How long did that run for then? Was that
8 years?
8 years.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was what was that? That was like the age 17 to 25, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
That sideline.
And then somewhere along the way, it sounds like around 2001, would it be?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, 2001.
Yeah.
So we're heading to that 25-year mark, aren't we?
Yeah.
And somewhere around 2001, you founded Bespoke.
Yeah, or co-founded.
Or co-founded,
So it was 3 of us involved back then. And yeah, that was because, there was a few things leading towards it. It was just a really boom period, wasn't it? For that everyone could see that this online thing was going to be huge. It was the days before broadband, so websites were not as they are now, and you didn't have a phone with a screen, but you could just see it was going to be big. And I think anybody who was in design was thinking at that time, what's this going to mean? Where does my career go? Do I become a web designer, or do I do both? Yeah, and we just broke out and obviously took the risk and let our salaries go and thought, we'll try and build this thing up.
So 2001 then, that was before most of the big platforms that we take for granted now.
Yeah, it was. I think the sort of questions people had at that time, the phone was always ringing because, everyone was facing this question of, I should be online, but how do I do it? What does it mean? Or do I need to be online? And the things we were dealing with was, one, they needed the web presence and had to work out not an upgrade of a web presence, but I've never had one before, and what should I have? That sort of thing. But the other thing was they weren't connected to the internet.
Right.
So we would go out to demo, you could have a site like this and the other. We'd have to plug into their phone line and dial in. And they'd say, but no one will be able to ring us. It's like, no, but we'll only be 10 minutes. That's amazing. But then I think about 2004 or 5, we got broadband and everyone had it.
Suddenly, and from that point on, it was,
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got a flavour of you outside of work. We talk about certain things, don't we? I know football's a thing. I know music's a thing. But what else? What else makes you tick?
Well, music's a big thing. So we were DJs actually at the time that's how we ended up. Coming to form things. We're all involved in the nightclub. That was one thing. And then I did a lot of songwriting and recording and ended up going around and did some work at Abbey Road and went around some of the big studios they were like name producers and so on. So I got a little bit in there.
Yeah.
And really that was a sideline, but really enjoyed that. And then what else? And I'm a parent outside of work, so I love getting involved with. My daughter's a guitarist now as well, teenager guitarist, amongst other things.
And that takes me to gigs, because I know your daughter as well is as passionate about music as you and gigs, but you still do the gigs, don't you?
I do. We always have. I think since 17, I've always gone to a few gigs a year.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that I realise now is it's great to see a brilliant performer or a brilliant band or a great atmosphere, but they're a little bit like the stimulus to keep everybody together, not your old friends. So a couple of times a year, you can give a friend who lives somewhere else a message, and do you fancy go to see this? And that's how you keep, you go for dinner beforehand or.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's got to be a reason to keep friendships going, hasn't there? Not just because of habit or history. No. And that's a nice way of doing it.
Yeah, and I think football's really valuable in communities for that reason, because it keeps generations of families can go together and old friends can connect. So it's like they're enjoyable things, but the byproduct of them is really healthy as well.
Steve, I guess moving from your sort of what you do outside of work, but moving it back to Bespoke, could you just describe a little about the team here?
We love the team, don't we, is one thing. We, sometimes people ask me what I've got on in the week and say I'm going to the office. And they're like, oh, blimey. Like some people work at home and I say, no, I love it. I love going in. I feel great when I come away after having a day in here. But yeah, so I guess there's a backstory with that as well. So I think it's one of the most difficult things to organise. Like everyone, if I speak to, like the other agency owners that I speak to, I've spoken to, I've been able to get sort of sales working and delivery working. But that thing, there's a lot of trial and error. There's no handbook for an agency team. Yeah. Actually, there's actually covered in there. Yeah. But yeah, we had to learn it by trial and error, really. I think if I look back, maybe 10 years, 15 years, I think about that idea of, do you have the right seats? First of all, do you have the right roles? Are they all really valuable roles and they make sense? And the right role for one person to do? And then do you have the right person in the right seat? Yeah. And I think we didn't have the right roles. I don't think anyone does when they're young, 5-year-old agency. It's quite hard to get to that. And then they're hiring the right sort of skills and character into each one. Maybe we didn't know quite how to do that as well. But yeah, now I think everybody's quite aligned in there. That's one of the reasons why it's sort of, everything's peaceful and organised. And
I mean, that roots us nicely back in a way to the 25-year anniversary that's coming up, because it, getting the right team, the right seats, the right roles, all aligned and working well. We often use the term a mature agency, don't we? It comes from that experience.
Yes. I'll tell you what else was really useful, actually. It was when that first lockdown hit. Because I remember thinking we've never stopped. We've been going for nearly 2 decades at that point, and we'd never paused for any length of time and looked at the thing from the outside. And suddenly you could see it all. So you had a Zoom call, you could see all the team were there together every day. We'd never ever seen that before. you never had everyone sort of speak about the same question or, in one call. And also you just had that distance where, because everything had stopped, you'd think, is our brand actually what it should be? And is our product set actually what it should be? And is our marketing actually what it should be? And I thought, it's quite disjointed.
So it was a chance to reset, really. Yeah. Look, take a step back and reset and go again.
Yeah. So we literally drew it from scratch. And it was a way simpler version of business. And since then, it's just been really good.
It's kicked on again.
Yeah.
I'll give you 2 figures. I'll give you 250 projects in 25 years.
Yeah.
So I guess with those 2 headline numbers, you're going to have probably, you will have made mistakes along the way. Could you just give us a little bit on some of the, some of the learnings you've made, or even, detail some of the mistakes along the way?
I think there's a really obvious one, I think, which is, the thing I know now is, if you're trying to get from one place to a more mature place in some way, then having the right advisor, someone that's already been there, is important. And we didn't do that much. We didn't have mentors in our first 10 years at all. We didn't do any training. I think we read loads of books, like every book. Like every book was, this will be the solution. And now I realise you need one book and one system to follow. It might even be your own system that you built, but you need one thing, and you need one mentor, or some way of having a healthy conversation, and there's a simplicity like that. But there was just no one to. I mean, I suppose it's because agencies were a new thing and digital was a new thing as well.
Yeah,
there's no blueprint. But I think that thing of getting people that have done it around your team. Yeah, I think that's really valuable.
I'm going to put you in a different seat now as well. If you were to flip things around, and you're one of our clients, and you're wanting good service from an agency, could you give me your thoughts on if you were in this the client seat?
So what have we got there? So straight away I think of 2 things. One is, what does the agency do and what does your team do? And it should sort of dovetail like that. And there's some things that only the agency can do to a 10 out of 10, and some things that only your team can do to a 10 out of 10. And you've got to have those right. Yeah. So for example, your in-house team knows your product and customers inside out, but the agency's working with a massive range of businesses and seeing how loads of different tactics work. So, yeah, often CRO, paid search, be with the agency and so on. But there's loads that the in-house people should be doing as well. So there's that. And then the other thing is the biggest mistake I think we see, is we're so often getting these calls from every week. We get an inquiry, don't we, about something or other. And it's often something's not quite working. We dig into why, and the agency just isn't matched. It's a good agency they've got, but they're not matched. They're not matched on sector, or they don't deal with businesses of their size normally. So it's just someone that's not 100% in their field. So I think getting an agency 100% in your field is one of the biggest things.
And again, I mean, we keep going back to this, how long you've been around. Sorry, I keep mentioning, you know, implying how old you might be or not.
Yeah.
But obviously you've been doing this for a long time now, and there'll have been challenges along the way, but you obviously enjoy it. So what part of doing this job gives you the most satisfaction?
That's a good question. And funnily enough, my daughter asked me this morning, out of 10, how much do you enjoy your job? And I said 10. And then actually I changed it to 9. But so what is that? It's something about progress, and it's the energy that we get in the room, and it's the energy in the client. There's a lot of forward momentum around everything. Yeah. Every client's trying to move forward. Everyone on our teams move forward, and we've kind of developed the methods to do it. So we oil the wheels of everyone's progress, I guess. So you're seeing something that's evolving every week, and just to go in and get involved with that.
So it's the satisfaction really of just seeing everything working together and moving forward.
Yeah, maybe actually just that it's calm as well. Yeah. We're doing that in a very, very manageable way, a comfortable way.
We often get that feedback from, we say it, don't we? But we often directly get that feedback from people who visit us.
Yeah, very sort of predictable and consistent.
Yeah.
But, you know, results that change things for people as well.
Yeah. I guess to wrap up, if you could harness that experience and perhaps share a key takeaway that stays with you, having been doing this for a while now.
I mean, my first thing I think there is, like, enjoy it. Is the do you know what I mean? It's work, isn't it? just enjoy it. But yeah, the takeaway. Do you know what I say? One takeaway is about being really transparent and authentic, and have been surrounded with those relationships. I think that thing where you get a bit cynicism, I know that there are agencies where you get cynicism in the client-agency relationship, where you get cynicism between staff, or why is this not happening, or they should have done that, or they should have done this. I think actually you get down with everyone. Everyone's basically trying to do the very best at everything. It's very rare that you don't find that. So I think just a candid approach, and I think the more transparency's gone up and clear direct communication's gone up over the years, then the more successful and happier we've been.
With the team here and with clients alike.
Yeah, right across the board.
Yeah, terrific.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.